I think at the top of it all, like you just can't be afraid to fail on any of these things. Not everything's going to work, especially in marketing, because people are people and sometimes they're a little bit unpredictable. So I think that's the excitement behind it. Our greatest learnings come from some of our biggest failures. And I think that's okay. And I think it's not something to shy away from.
This is Mental Selling, the sales podcast for people who are dedicated to making a difference in customers' lives. We're here to help you unlock sales talent, win more relationships, and transform your business with integrity. I'm your host, Haley Parr. Let's get right into it. Welcome back to Mental Selling by Integrity Solutions, the podcast where we dive into the human side of sales performance and what it really takes to thrive in today's environment. All right, today's episode is extra special because I'm joined by my dear friend and longtime marketing ride or die, Em Holldorf. Em is the new Director of Demand Generation at Integrity Solutions and absolute powerhouse behind events, operations, and all things demand and leads, which basically means if something's running smoothly, driving results, or making people say wow, there's a good chance Em's behind it. In this episode, we discuss how she got her start, what led her to Integrity Solutions, and what lights her up about building experiences that actually move people, not just move the needle. She shares a classic marketing war story, a trend she's got her eye on, and a completely unnecessary but totally delightful rapid-fire round of marketing this or that. It's smart, it's fun, and honestly, just a really good hang with one of my favorite humans and sharpest marketers I've ever had the pleasure to work with. Let's get into it. Em, welcome to Mental Selling. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining. And for all of our listeners, I had to talk Em into this one a little bit. Em's been in seat at Integrity Solutions since May, and I think it's probably come up in every one of our one-on-ones as our new Director of Demand Generation, where I asked very politely but firmly to join the podcast because I've known you for a long time and I just know that this one's going to be a banger. So thank you again.
Of course, it's not too hard to twist my arm.
That's true. That's true. Now, Em is a dear friend of mine and also someone I've worked with in a marketing capacity over numerous roles, and absolutely thrilled to have Em join the team at Integrity Solutions as our new Director of Demand Gen. We work very closely together. So this episode is going to take a little bit of a different direction. We usually focus on sales, but at Integrity Solutions, sales and marketing are really, really tightly interwoven and aligned. And those are the kinds of teams that I've always really enjoyed working for. Those are the types of teams that Em has always thrived in as well. So we thought that this episode might be a fun opportunity to take a peek at the other side of the go-to-market house with a little bit more of a marketing slant. So with that, love to get started at the beginning. What originally drew you into marketing as a career path? Do you have any moments or mentors or just things that you think back on that really shaped your approach to branding, marketing in general, and how did that shape the outcome of your career?
Yeah. So marketing from the start, I enrolled in the School of Business here at University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. I knew I wanted to take that a little bit broader than just marketing. So I found myself drawn to this new at the time program. Now it's, well over 10 years in. The integrated core program, where it took all of your 101 classes. So your marketing 101, your management, your finance, and then kind of an all-in-one consultative and professional skills class. And it really broke down the barriers between those and showed how marketing, management, finance, all of those can kind of influence each other. And you had the chance to work on some really cool and collaborative projects with some classmates. So I think that was where the passion and the fire was kind of lit. I love all parts of business, but I think marketing is a special place where you get to work with sales, you get to work with product, you get to work with the back end and the numbers that go into it and the budgeting. That's kind of the sweet spot for me. No 2 days are the same. That's the other fun part about marketing.
Yes, it is.
But I would say that throughout my college career, there have been plenty of professors, and probably too many to list, that have kind of shaped the way that I've grown. I stay in close contact with a lot of them, whether it's up grabbing coffee and chatting about the world, or hopping into one of their classes and telling them about the world a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm having some FOMO over here as a fellow University of Wisconsin-La Crosse undergrad alum. I did not go through the marketing program. I started in communication studies with a little bit of a broadcast emphasis, which is what this podcast kind of fulfills for me. I didn't have that experience as undergrad. I went on to go to business school. So I'm really glad that those early decisions in your college career shaped what you wanted to do, and you were one of those unicorn students that actually used your degree. So kudos to that. And it's resulted in quite a long and diverse career in marketing. Could you touch a little bit on some of the roles you've held leading up to Integrity Solutions?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got my start in events marketing with Organic Valley, an organic dairy brand CPG company, which was really exciting. Definitely no 2 days alike, to walk into such a powerhouse of a brand with such an established mission and vision to help save small family farms, and save the planet as well with those sustainable farming practices.
Yeah.
So having the ability to work with some brilliant minds there and work very closely with the sales team as well, which has also kind of shaped my career, to put on wonderful events to surprise and delight consumers, work closely with distributors, and get our products on shelves. From there, I headed over to the credit union industry, which is quite a shift, as listeners might think in their minds. But at the core of it all, companies with strong missions and strong visions are what I'm drawn towards. And at the core of it all are humans. And if we can help humans do one thing or another, I think we're doing the right thing and making the world a better place. So when you have the opportunity to work with a lot of folks who are underserved in the financial industry, or turned away, how can we listen to those very human stories and relate to them and help them on their path to achieving their goals?
So from organic farming to your time at the credit union, which is actually where we met. I was at the credit union and took another opportunity, and Em stepped in to fill my role. And then you were at Dynamic Cycling for a bit. Then you were back in the edtech space, and now at Integrity Solutions. Like, talk about working across industries, but maintaining that thread of not just your marketing acumen and skills and expertise, but the why behind you doing what you do, being a constant throughout your career. How else has that variety of industry experience influenced how you think about marketing today?
I think it helps me think about marketing a little bit differently than someone who's maybe stayed in the same industry or the same tread of thought throughout their career. There are so many different ways and different approaches to doing things. And I've always been somebody who's not afraid to go a little bit against the grain, a little bit out there. And I think at the top of it all, like, you just can't be afraid to fail on any of these things. Not everything's going to work, especially in marketing, because people are people and sometimes they're a little bit unpredictable. So I think that's the excitement behind it. Our greatest learnings come from some of our biggest failures, and I think that's okay. And I think it's not something to shy away from.
You're absolutely right. And I feel like you've been grown into such a strong marketer as a result. That ability to pivot and be flexible and work with different shareholders across product and sales and operations. And I really think that has served you well. And it's one of the reasons we work so well together, because even here at Integrity Solutions, not every day is the same. And we have to be a little scrappy sometimes. I'd love to learn from those past experiences, if there's a specific story or a win from your career that jumps out to you.
The thing that sticks out to me, I've been thinking about this a lot. It's no major milestone or like big thing that happened, but every company has their own sort of internal awards or kind of standing ovations, high fives, whatever you want to call them. And I think that any time that I can serve somebody internal in a memorable way and receive feedback that it was something that was memorable or, helpful above and beyond, that's what keeps me doing what I'm doing. I'm just a helper through and through. So any opportunity that I have to help somebody make an impact, I'm there.
And I think that makes you a really special marketer too, right? Because so much of what we do is externally focused, and shaping messaging and positioning and how we're taking something to market, but to recognize the importance of we have internal customers as well. And we also serve a purpose in terms of enablement and support. And I think communication is really, really important. And these things are easy to shoot from the hip because they're all strengths that you have. And one of the reasons that I've been kind of bringing you along on this journey wherever I go, because we work really well together. And I've just been so impressed by you and your career trajectory, and absolutely thrilled, it goes without saying, that you decided to make the jump over to Integrity Solutions to make a difference in this space of sales performance. I know your why because we've been working together for a few months and had endless conversations about it. But share for our listeners, what was it specifically about Integrity Solutions that really drew you to our mission and what we're doing on a day-to-day basis that made you want to be a part of it?
A handful of things, but I think when they all work together, it's really my why. First and foremost, it's Integrity Solutions has been around for over 50 years, and that says something. To be able to consistently serve and thrive for that amount of time in any industry is a fantastic feat to achieve. The human-centric approach to selling. This is a technological age, AI-driven. You can't turn a corner without hearing about AI in a conference or a trade show. So bringing the human element back, which is really a cornerstone of what Integrity Solutions and its products are all about. So those two things. Also, Integrity Solutions has taken a little bit of a back seat in the market for a while, or it sat a little bit on the sidelines and stayed a little quiet. And I am so excited about what's on the horizon. The ability to shout this product from the rooftops and really just engage a marketplace that loves us once they experience us. So how can we get our message to more people?
One thing that you mentioned really resonated with me and my integrity why as well is exactly what you said about our emphasis on human-centric selling and how relevant that still is in the age of AI and automation. And I was just looking at a conference debrief from a vendor where it listed out all of the topics that had been talked about through the span of 3 days, and AI was in every single title. And ours was on the human-centric side of selling. And it's still more relevant than ever. It continues to be this thread of, are we losing touch with what it means to develop authentic connections? And is that impacting or hindering what we're trying to do? And the more conversations we have, the answer is absolutely. It's more important than ever to continue to bring that element to the conversation and ensure that we're listening more than we're speaking in those conversations. It's another key differentiator that I was really like, wow, this is something that we can be proud about at the end of the day. So that was a surprise to me, a pleasant surprise. Is there anything else from your perspective in these past few months, unique or surprising about Integrity Solutions that you weren't expecting when you joined?
I honestly was not expecting to walk into such a welcoming and supporting sales team. They are dedicated. They are hungry. They are ready for something fresh and new. They are excited to work with marketing, which is not something that we always have the privilege of experiencing from a marketing side. But these people are wonderful. Our people are wonderful. I could not have dreamt a better place to land. Again, I can't wait to see what we can build together, because when you have those stories from the field coming in and our messaging and our foundation going out, where those two intersect is where we find what works.
You're spot on. And I think for me, one thing that really brings that to light is like the difference maker is working for a values-driven or a purpose-first organization. But that obviously shifts, to your point, how marketing interacts with other folks in the organization and the strategy that is adopted and executed. What are some other things that you think might need to be changed or pivoted when you're working for a company like Integrity Solutions that is more values-driven or purpose-first?
Matricizing That's a word. We're going to make it a word.
I was going to say, define this new word that I'm pretty sure you just invented.
I might have just invented it, but that's marketing, right? Matricizing the organization a little bit more. So, we're talking to product and we're talking to sales and they're talking to each other. So just building all of those little neurons of connection within the organization, I think it's more important when you have an org that is more mission and values driven, because that heartbeat is something that needs to flow through the entire organization. So I'm officially saying matricizing communications.
All right, Merriam-Webster, get it on the books. No, I couldn't agree more. And I think as marketers who have such a public facing, we have so many more eyeballs on the product that we're putting out in terms of our campaigns and our assets, that we need to keep that as a touch point in everything that we do to ensure that what we say aligns with what we do, internally, externally, and across the board. Like, that is our brand. And it's so important and it's so strong here. What a gift to be able to work for such a legacy brand and continue to tell that story in a way that does it justice. So I think your word was more than appropriate.
We'll put it on the wall or something.
Let's do it.
I'm not sure how we're going to spell it.
Hi there. If you're listening to this show, it means you believe in making a difference in your customers' lives and are looking for tools to grow in your career at the same time. At Integrity Solutions, we're changing the stereotypes about sales training in ways your customers will feel and experience every day. If you want to learn more about how we could help you and your team, go to integritysolutions.com. All right, pivoting a little bit. Fun new section, workshopping this. You'll have to let me know how it goes. As someone who has worked with you in B2B, B2C, different capacities, different roles, but I know your style. So I wanted to come up with some questions that I didn't know the answer to in a little bit of a fun, rapid fire marketing this or that. Okay. Right. So I'm going to give you two scenarios and you just give me your initial reaction, this or that. You don't have to expand unless you feel like your response needs a caveat for our listeners, but we're going to rattle through these. Are you ready?
All right. I will try my best to hop on one side of the fence.
Okay. All right. Marketing rapid fire, this or that. Launch a new brand or rebrand an existing one.
Launch a new brand.
Tiny budget with full creative freedom or a huge budget, but within guardrails.
Tiny budget.
You are scrappy. One thing about that I really appreciate and lean on is your creativity and the fact that you have a tool or an idea for every problem I've ever thrown at you, which is such a rare skill in a marketer. And it's not something that you could necessarily train for or even discern in an interview. So the fact that you just have that innately in you, not just at work, but even when we're out on the golf course and we need a new something or other to gamble on, you've always got an idea in your back pocket. So that scrappiness, that answer makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Lifelong learner, and I will always tinker with any new tool out there or new software.
There you go. Okay, here's a hard one, because I know you've done both of these things. Work in B2B, so for our non-marketing folks, that's business to business, or B2C, business to consumer marketing.
B2B.
It's a lot of fun. It requires a little more creativity, and attribution can be a little more difficult sometimes, but I'm with you right there. So thanks for making that choice, so I don't have to worry about you going over to some B2C brand.
That's fair. I love the collaboration with sales too much. Sales is fun.
It works well here, which is, to your point earlier, not common and a pleasant surprise. Okay. Would you rather do a competitive analysis or a customer persona mapping?
Competitive analysis. I want to know what's going on out in the world.
I like it. Would you rather run a nurture journey or create a new lead magnet piece?
I think I'll go new lead gen magnet, quick hitting, powerful. We'll take that route.
I like it. And she's working on one right now, folks. So keep your eyeballs out for a good new piece from the Integrity Solutions team. Okay. This one does make a little more sense because both options are data-driven. Would you rather build an attribution model or an engagement scoring model?
Engagement scoring.
Would you rather have something perform in such a way that you see high click-through rates, lots of volume, but low conversions, or low traffic, higher conversions, so better quality?
Low traffic, higher conversions all day.
I'm really curious about this one because I know where I fall, and I think I know where you fall, and I think we're opposite, which works really well.
Okay.
Are you more of an early adopter or a trend follower?
Early adopter.
I would agree with that. Going back to the tricks and tips and tools conversation,
Yes.
You're always bringing something to me that I've never heard of before. And then I follow and say, yes, absolutely, we should be taking advantage of that and checking that out, diving a little deeper. So, okay, last one. Are you more into team collaboration or would prefer heads down solo work?
I think I have to go with solo work, heads down. And I love knowing that like everyone on a team might be doing that same thing. And then we bring it all together so that we get that time to step away and get a little deep into the corners of our own minds and not be swayed towards groupthink too quickly.
That's exactly how you work. And that's been really effective. So, okay. I'm done peppering you with these rapid fire questions.
Oh, I thought we were just getting started.
Well, I'll think of some more. Folks, if there are other this or that questions you'd like to hear from Em or anyone on the Integrity Solutions team, please engage with us on social media. We'd love to hear from you. Okay. Unfortunately, we are drawing to the end of this conversation, but I do want the mental selling listeners to get to know you a little bit better before we wrap. So I'd love to hear a marketing war story from your career that you'll never forget, keeps you up at night, campaign went sideways, you learned a lesson the hard way, or just a wild moment in your career that you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah. I think because this one happened so early in my career and it was very abrupt too. It was just kind of one of those like shocking moments. I want to tell our listeners about my first trade show experience.
Ooh, this one will be juicy.
Yeah. It's shocking, I'll say. So yeah, it was down in Chicago, a pretty big show. I want to say some 20,000 attendees. And I was kind of learning the ropes of how trade shows work, how we set them up, who we work with in exhibitor services to get things done. And my colleague Sharon said, whatever you do, make sure that when you are done setting up or in the middle of setting up, you do not leave anything in the aisles. So we finished setting up, and I don't know if Sharon had walked over to exhibitor services or what had happened, but I was alone standing in the booth, and I turned around, and there was this pallet of probably tens of thousands of pieces of literature from another food company sitting in the middle of the aisle, just on a pallet. And just out of the corner of my eye, I see this forklift coming in, like full speed, probably way faster than it should have been going. I'm like, there's no way it's going to stop. It's going to turn. And just in front of me, I see this forklift just bulldoze this entire pallet of literature. Like pieces of paper are flying everywhere. And I think I texted Sharon in that moment and I went, you don't leave things in the aisle.
Oh my goodness. I am picturing that right now. That's hilarious. I'm very glad to hear it wasn't your literature, that it was a neighbor, so that it wasn't your mess to clean up.
Yep. I was proactively instructed. Otherwise I probably would have lived something out there. But the setup for trade shows and conferences is the most organized chaos that I have probably ever seen in one place for such a short amount of time.
Yeah, there's something about a trade show. I'm getting nervous just thinking about it. A big priority for bringing you on was having you run point on events and conferences for Integrity Solutions. And I'm so glad you're such an expert and just so whip smart with all the logistics, and you know the tricks of the trade, and you know the big players in the space. And you're headed to a show at the end of the month. Do you want to plug where you're going?
Yes, I will be attending the L10 annual conference out in Aurora, Colorado.
Yes. So we are sending M and a few folks on the sales side of the house. Please come visit our booth and check out our workshop while we're there. We're very, very thrilled to be joining the folks in the life sciences space and having a presence there. So super excited for that show. Thank you for running point on all those details
Yeah.
for that show.
Yeah, there's going to be some great conversations there. I just know it.
And keep your eye out for forklifts while you're there, is all I'll say.
Yes.
Okay. I want to know, what is a marketing trend or maybe a shift in the space that's recently caught your attention?
Man, I could say AI, but I will say AI adjacent. I think it's a symptom of what's going on with AI right now. So, I mean, we're having all of these AI generated cadences and interactions and engagements and content generation. And we're as consumers, we're kind of under this constant barrage of muck. I'm going to call it what it is. It's muck. So not only is human interaction, connection, authenticity kind of at the forefront of what we're doing, but I'm seeing it become more and more important on social media. You look at your LinkedIn and you're seeing more CEOs and executives adding their own kind of spin and plugging their messaging about a brand rather than a brand just spewing out their messaging and what they're about. So I think bringing the humans back into the conversation. I'm also seeing conversational email perform a lot better
Interesting.
than
What do you mean by that? Can you?
yeah. So I'm seeing like when a salesperson or a marketer takes the time to type a message back to a human, like you would a text message, just that deviation from how everything used to need to be so polished in these professional communications in the corporate world. We think about writing memos and how we're spacing everything. And I think so much more often we're seeing, okay, sounds good, sent from my iPhone. And I think there's something to that because you know that it's coming from a person. You know that it's just a real human giving their real answer on the other side. And if we're being hit with 3 to 4 paragraph emails from companies, from cadences, from things that are built by something other than a human, it's just really refreshing to have someone be real.
It's obvious, but in a subtle way where you can't put your finger exactly on how you know, but you know.
Yeah, it's like the reverse of the uncanny valley.
No, that's a really astute observation. And I think it's good as marketers to keep a pulse on that because we're the ones, often crafting the message that goes out into the market. And I think there are ways to leverage those tools to improve workflows but keeping that human touch and keeping a keen eye on how something's going to be received through the lens of who you're talking to and what's going on with them, what they're thinking and feeling, where they might be, like what channel they're getting it through is so important. So
I love that you said that you touched on the tools because the tools are always going to have a place. The tools are always going to make things easier. So using those to gain your insights, but then humans are always going to matter. Communicating as a human is always going to matter. And I think those soft skills are just going to become more and more important.
Couldn't agree more. And that's why it's been such a thrill to have these human to human conversations on the podcast and with you, honestly, all day long through Slack and email. And we don't live too far apart, as if you can't tell from our heavy Midwestern accents. Em and I are both on the western side of Wisconsin. So we're not too far apart. We get together in person when we can to talk all things marketing strategy and all the exciting things we have going on at Integrity Solutions, which leads me to my final question. What are you most excited about in your new role as Director of Demand Gen at Integrity Solutions right now?
I think what's on the horizon. Working with the sales team has been amazing, collaborating with them. They are such a tenured and insightful group. They care about the stories that they're hearing out in the field, and they care about relaying that back to marketing. They care about what marketing's up to. So I think just all of that collaboration, the endless opportunities to help as I am a helper, and to hopefully take us to new heights.
You're spot on. That collaboration, it seems obvious, but I think it's more difficult to do than it sounds. In other organizations, those two departments can be so siloed. And one thing you touched on was the pass back of information. In previous roles, where we work together, I think we can both agree that there have been plenty times where we learn of something that would have been really good to know because it can help improve what we're putting out to market. And that's just not the case here. We're so dialed in with what all of our functional areas are doing, and it just helps improve our day-to-day and makes the strategy the absolute best it can be. So we're in a good spot, and we're thrilled that you're here.
Thank you again so much for having me.
Thank
This
you.
was fun. Thank you for twisting my arm. Maybe we'll have to do it again sometime.
Absolutely. We absolutely will. I'm sure you'll hear from me later. But for now, thank you all for listening. And until the next episode. Thank you for joining us on Mental Selling. If today's conversation resonated with you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. For more insights on how to go beyond winning deals and build real customer relationships, visit integritysolutions.com. See you next time.